Hey, welcome to my really quick comic review of the Captain Carrot and His Amazing Zoo Crew. It's number 11 from January 1983, so it was really actually printed 1982. We could tell from the What's Coming Up section, probably in October is what I'm guessing, because it's talking about early November. Let me see if I can get to it. Coming Comics. Yeah, October 28th. Coming on sale is Orion, or Lord of Atlantis. Orion, not Orion. Number 3. So this is a lot of early stuff that I vaguely remember reading a few of. All-Star Squadron number 17, a fantastic series. And this one we have Attorney Brings Robot Man Up on Charges. Okay. New Adventures of Superboy 37. I think I tapped out way before that. But there's also a You Can't Tell the Heroes Without an H Style. So there's a backup story. I love the era of backup stories. And this one has a backup story too. Jonah Hex number 68. Weird War Tales number 119 with the Creature Commandos. I was definitely into that. World's Finest number 287. They fight Madame Zodiac. I vaguely remember that. There was a bunch of other stories in that one. Detective Comics number 522. The Return of the Snowman. Action Comics 539. Justice League of America number 211. Wonder Woman 300. I got that issue actually. So that's pretty cool. Adventure Comics Digest. Oh, I love those little digests. I remember getting them off the spinner rack. So this must be about the time. Well, okay, they've been doing those for a while though. Black Hawk 255. Arak, Son of Thunder. I've yet to read one of those. The Fury of Firestorm. I used to like that. The Best of DC Digest. That was another one of his little books. And DC Comics Presents number 54. Superman and Green Arrow. All right. I probably had that one. And then on sale November 11th is New Teen Titans 28. So that was about the time. There are 2 stories in this. One of them is the cover story. It's the Weirdly Wondrous Was-Wolf. They love alliteration in this book, I'm going to tell you right now. And then the Sinister Salamandroid versus the Rubber Duck. So if you don't know who the Zoo Crew are, we have Yankee Poodle, Captain Carrot, who they did make an action figure of recently. I didn't like the action figure because it was too human looking. I feel like I would love to see a rubber set, like, you know, those little rubber figures that, even maybe something like this would be kind of cool. I just happened to grab this near me because he was hanging out with me the other day. But you know, like the little Smurf type figures. That's what I would love to see of this crew. I don't need to play with them. I just want to like have little figures of them. That was when they went over with just a lot of animals. It was the Crash, like the Flash. Fastback, which at the time I had no idea what Fastback meant. Now I know it's, you know, it's a car thing. Alley Cat Dabra, which I always love that name. Rubber Ducky and Pig Iron. Now Pig Iron, if you don't know, is actually Peter Porkchop. In this we find out, you know, he's mostly Peter Porkchop in this comic. Peter Porkchop, if you don't know, back in the day there was a comic book called Peter Porkchop, and this guy right here, there's a little secret about him. If you don't want to know, you're watching the wrong video. He's also another character that was in the Comics Cavalade, I think. It was one of those early like 40s and 50s comic books that just had, you know, little fun comics in it. So you'll recognize him hopefully. So it starts off with they're all getting pretty much banged up. And I do like to stop and look at the ads. So if you're not one of these people who likes ads, why? I actually think they're fun to look at old ads. All right, I know nowadays when YouTube puts them up there, I hate them. I feel your pain on that one. So we got a little naked pig in the background. That's disgusting. They should have called this a PG-13 rating for that alone. Bubblegum, I used to chew that stuff up. I actually liked the grape one back then. Ugh. I like the tropical one, but after a while, like if you get an old piece of tropical, it tasted like nasty feet. So they're fighting this was-wolf, and you know, it's that typical going back and forth fighting. I did have a snake, by the way. I can't remember. I think mine was like a light tan and brown. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. So there was all that back and forth with the fighting, which is, you know, blah, blah, blah. Here's Peter Porkchop without clothes. Alley Cat Dabra gives him his clothes, and this is the clothes that you would have recognized him back in the early 50s and late 40s, or whenever the comic book was actually out. You might even notice this character because whenever the Sun came out, he reverted back to himself, and he doesn't even remember anything. It's like the whole werewolf situation, but it's a wolf turning into a human who wants to eat animals. He's basically wanting to eat pork chops, Peter Pork Chop. And in this universe, animals don't eat animals, which is interesting because of what would he eat? Like, just curious. I mean, we know Captain Carrot eats carrots, but just curious. And what does the cat eat? Like, they're very carnivorous animals. I'm wondering what they do eat in this universe. All right, so we have he's coming back and he's like, what happened? And it's like, well, you better be on your guard because, you know, the wolf is out. And at this point, they didn't put two and two together yet. I'm surprised that nobody's actually tried to do this one. Now, here's another name that I think is interesting. It's the Dr. Sigmund Frog, not Freud, Frog. And you can read it in your little German accent when you're reading that. That's what I was doing. But he's basically tripped him off to the fact that he may not even know he's doing it. He may have a split personality. Well, here's what's causing this whole thing. He's got this little medallion that causes him to turn to it. And look, it's nighttime, and what happens? He turns into the wolf. I'm not sure where that name came from, but I guess I couldn't say werewolf because that's redundant in this situation. Well, she's trying to turn Peter Pork Chop back into pig iron. Can't quite do it. There's a reason for that. We'll find out later. I'm just kind of skimming through here because it's just, you know, your basic back and forth. And the dialogue between them sometimes is like meh. Sometimes I'm really glad to see things like this, like Goliath. It's time Goliath beat the Dave kid for a change. I mean, nowadays, I don't know if kids in, you know, public schools would actually understand that, you know, what he's alliterating to. I grew up in a time where I wasn't brought up in the church, but I knew who David and Goliath were. I had some knowledge of this Bible stuff, even when I was an atheist. So when you said David and Goliath, I knew who it was. I've seen, you know, things at that point. So this is what's causing it. He's reaching his back pocket. He's trying to find a weapon, and he's grabbing this. It's like, I'm starting to tingle all over. Apparently, this medallion was made out of the same material that made Pig Iron who he was. Now, if you don't remember who Pig Iron, how he got his powers, he was working in the what is it called? Pittsburgh, it's hard to say that, Pittsburgh steel factory. And a meteor hit him in the head, knocked him into a vat of steel. Instead of dying in the, you know, extremely hot steel, he became pig iron thanks to that magic metal. Like, you know, it's going to be some kind of little magic thing going on. And that's why Alley Cat Dabra couldn't turn him back into pig iron, because it was magically induced. Next issue, we got Scott Shaw Returns. It's the chronicle of the dynamic debut of Little Cheese. It's going to be interesting. Maybe be a little cheesy. We got him back to normal. He's like, ugh, eating an animal. He's like, right there he goes. He's like, ugh, eating an animal? That's disgusting, you know? It's like, I agree. Carrots are my meat. So he's like, you want your Lucky Charm? I'm like, no, I don't want to turn back into that thing. That's a horrifying thought. So, you know, it's interesting. We got lots and lots of ads, and we got lots of in-house ads. And then we got the Rubber Duck meets the battles the sinister Salamandroid. Boy, that's a mouthful right there. I think the Salamandroid looks really cool. He looks like some action figures that I've recently come into contact with. I really have always liked that kind of look. He's kind of looks like a battle beast, but he also looks like the guy in Rom, the comic book where Rom was under the grave, and one of the I forgot what they're called, the Slytherins or whatever they're called, basically catches up with him and tries to kill him. Or, you know, they get in their typical superhero fight. Well, I think that's a pretty cool looking bad guy, but he gets his power from the sun. He divulges that information whenever, oh look, Sergeant Rock. I never had any of those little figures. All right, I think they made two different types. I think they made the little figures. Something just went right in my mouth. And then the 3 3/4 inch figures, kind of like little G.I. Joe figures, but they're by Rimco. Rimco made some interesting toys. All right, so during the fight, Salamandroid revealed how he came to be. Dr. Hoot, in issue number 5, created him on his. Well, he got arrested in issue 5. Let me put it that way. So during his bail, like he got bailed, he created this guy. He would be powered by the sun itself. So he revealed a little too much information because during the fight, Rubber Ducky comes up with the idea. Oh wait, he's like, it's awfully hot. The sun. Oh, yeah, here we go. The sun. So he covers him up, kind of like Plastic Man does a lot of times, cutting him off from the sun, and therefore, I guess Salamander doesn't have any backup cells, which is weird because while he was fighting in the house, he didn't shut down. He wasn't getting direct sunlight inside the building. So, don't overthink these things. It's a comic book, okay? So he fishes him out of the pond, and everybody thinks that he caused all this damage, not realizing he's been wrapped up right there. And I loved these M Network games. They were your way of playing Imaginix, what am I saying? Sorry. They were your way of playing in television games on Atari. And you think, well, is that really a good thing? There were some really good Atari games. There was really good versions, imports. They show all the bad ones right here. It's actually, I think that's Astro Smash, which I think they called Astro Blast. They changed the names for some reason. But they had some really good sci-fi games back in the day. I think one of my favorites, I can't remember off the top of my head. I did get rid of my Atari 2600 and unfortunately my 7800 because I should have kept that. But I had to get rid of everything. I decided to keep one system, and it was my Sega Genesis. And Aaron M, I got your comic book. I just realized that somebody did write on here. Is that Aaron from Psychedelic Squirt Gun? Is this your comic? Huh. I don't know. I don't know if I know your last name, but that's interesting. I like Technic sets. I really liked it when they had the little Technic drivers. But anyway, so which of the video game systems did you, if you had to keep just one, which one would you keep? And did you ever read Captain Carrot? And which one's your favorite character? I'd like to see some comments down below if you watch this video all the way through. For me, I've always been really into Alley Cat just because she's a cat, probably. I'm trying to think. Seems like there's a person missing on here. I always thought Nicky Poodle's a little creepy looking just because, I don't know, I'm not a poodle person. Pig Iron's pretty cool. He looks like Frankenstein though. Probably, I don't know. I like them all, but if I had to pick just one, I think Alley Cat Dapper was one of my favorites. Alright, so let me know in the comments which one's your favorite and why. Have a great day.